Hey guys, SpinoDude here, and today we are going to be taking a look at a CollectA figure. So let's have our co-host Marvin bring it out. Thank you, Marvin. So today guys, we are going to be taking a look at this. It is the CollectA Utahraptor. Now this Utahraptor was released back in 2011, and if you've been staying tuned to the channel, you'll remember that we unboxed this as part of our 2016 Christmas Spectacular. I'd like to send out a big thank you to everythingdinosaur.com for sending this figure over. Make sure you guys go check them out. They offer great service with very efficient shipping. So without further ado guys, let's dive into the review. Before we take a closer look at the figure, here are a few quick facts about Utahraptor itself. Utahraptor austromosaurum means Utah's thief. It was a species of dromaeosaur that lived in the Cretaceous period of what is now the United States of America. Utahraptor was one of the largest dromaeosaur species, reaching lengths of up to 20 feet long or possibly longer. It had a large 9-inch sickle claw on each foot, perfect for slicing at its victims. Utahraptor lived alongside the armored ankylosaur Gastonia. The two species are often portrayed locked in battle. So without further ado guys, let's start taking a closer look at this awesome ancient predator. Alright, so if you guys didn't know, Utahraptor is actually my favorite species of dromaeosaur, and for first impressions, this little figure looks good. Although there are a few things that bother me about it, this figure is about 6 years old. The first thing that looks a little odd to me is just how thick the head sculpt is here. To me, it speaks more carnosaur than it does dromaeosaur. It looks as if it's almost a bit too heavy for this creature's neck to hold up in my opinion. But other than that, the detail is done really nicely in the head here for being so small. I like the feathers going down the top of the skull and down the neck there, and the ridges on the snout here are done very nicely as well. The second thing that looks a little odd to me on this figure are the patches of feathers on the back of the Utahraptor's legs here. It just seems like an odd place to put a somewhat larger group of feathers in my opinion, but they do blend in nicely with the overall color scheme so they don't detract too much from the figure. And the final thing that bothers me the most about this figure, and it's mostly on the Utahraptor's left arm here, is that the feathers are like attached to the top of the wrist and pointing outwards. On the raptor's right arm it looks a little bit better than on its left arm, but that just stands out the most to me on this figure and just looks awkward in my opinion. I don't really understand why they would sculpt it like that. But what makes up for all those little things has to be how small this figure is. It's downright tiny and the detail is really nice. I feel like if it was done in a larger scale, those things would really detract from the figure's appearance. But besides really nice detail, there's a couple other things that I really like about this figure. The first being the color scheme. Now they could have just gone with the duller light brown across the whole body, but I really like how they went with the addition of the brighter orange on the head and neck there. I think it's a very naturalistic color scheme, and it makes the figure stand out nicely on your shelf. Another thing I really like on this figure is how long the tail is. On a lot of dinosaur figures these days, especially dromaeosaurs, the tails seem to be somewhat shortened, but here it is really long and stiff, as it should be, to help the animal keep balance when walking, running, etc. The feet on this figure are actually not oversized to help it balance, which is sort of bittersweet to me because although it has accurately sized feet, it has an issue with standing, and this figure of course does not come with a display base. It can lean on its tail however, which is better than it just flopping over all the time, but if you keep trying you can find the sweet spot where it will stand on its 2 feet. And for whatever reason, I just really love the way the raptor's right arm is posed here. I'm not really sure why, I just really like the positioning of it. Alright, so for my overall thoughts on this figure, like you heard, there are a few little things that bother me about it, but I think the size of the figure really makes up for it. It is downright tiny and it is packed with really nice details. This little guy was only $4 as well, so I think it's really worth a pickup. In terms of scientific accuracy, like previously mentioned, the head looks a little too large and thick to me. Not sure about the larger patch of feathers on the back of the legs there, and the feathers pointing outwards from the wrists just look really awkward in my opinion. There's also a somewhat lack of feathers across the body, especially in the forearms where there should be full wings. If I remember correctly though, it is only assumed that Utahraptor had feathers because none were actually found on the discovered specimens. But again, this figure is 6 years old, is very small, and is very cheap, so I think it is totally worth it. So you're probably wondering just how big this figure is, so Marvin, bring out the ruler. Thank you, Marvin. Alright, we've got our trusty flexi ruler now, so let's give this Utahraptor a measure. So in terms of the length from the head to the tip of the tail, we are looking at about 5 inches, and in terms of the height at the highest point, which is the top of the head here, we are looking at about 2 inches. For comparison, here is the CollectA Utahraptor next to the CollectA Swimming Spinosaurus. If you want to see the review for this figure, link will be down below in the description. I think these two pieces look very nice next to each other, although they are out of scale. Make sure you guys go check out the Swimming Spinosaurus from CollectA, it's a very nicely done figure. Up next for comparison, here is the CollectA Utahraptor next to the CollectA Diplodocus. If you want to see the review for this figure, link will be down below in the description. Now obviously this figure is too tall to fit into the filming area here, but can lean him forward a little bit. That's a little bit better, I guess. But as you can see, like I just said, this Diplodocus towers over the Utahraptor, and I think they look great next to each other for display. So make sure you guys go check out CollectA's Diplodocus, it's an awesome piece. And finally for comparison, here's the CollectA Utahraptor next to the Safari Limited Nazutoceratops. If you want to see the review for this figure, link will be down below in the description. Nazutoceratops is another dinosaur from Cretaceous Utah, USA, and I think these two figures look very nice next to each other. Make sure you guys go check out Safari's Nazutoceratops, it's a beautifully done ceratopsian figure. Well, there we go guys, that was today's look at the CollectA Utahraptor. Although there are a few little things that bother me about this piece, I think the size of the figure really makes up for it. It's downright tiny and there are lots of very nice details packed in. So if you guys want to get this model for yourself, make sure you head on over to www.everythingdinosaur.com. They offer fantastic service with fast shipping, so make sure you check them out. Anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a comment telling me what you think of this figure. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care, and bye-bye.